Hello everyone and welcome to Sinful Gaming. I hope you're all doing well, I hope you're all staying safe, and most of all, I hope you're all fighting that war against the grey. Today's video, we are going to talk about new 40k. So I've got the brand new trailer for the new edition of Warhammer 40k 10th edition up on screen. I want to go through and chat a little bit about some cool things I'm excited for and a couple of things I'm maybe a little bit hesitant on in the new edition. And so I've got 5 things I want to go through that I'm really excited for, and then those 2 things that I'm maybe a little bit concerned about in the new edition. But while we enjoy this fantastic film clip, let's have some time just talking about what we are going to see in this new edition. And the first of these things that I'm really excited with is Combat Patrol. I think this looks like a really fun way to build up our games of Warhammer 40k. It looks like a great place to get new people started, to start new leagues, to start new events, to start new communities and all that sort of stuff, you know, just buying a box and going, this is a force, this is balanced, or at least sort of balanced. Maybe they'll be stressing more to get them balanced, as we've done the Combat Patrol box sets on the channel. They generally are around that same sort of points value, which is pretty exciting. But I think this would be a great way to get new people in. I could really see some fun Combat Patrol style events working. Now, these streamlined data sheets are a massive part of what I think the new 40k for 10th edition is all going to be about. They've gone through on many a time now on different sources saying they've gone through and overlooked every single data sheet and they've changed them up. I think this is massively improved. The data sheets look really easy to read, easy to understand. As someone who plays a lot of Age of Sigmar, and is definitely Age of Sigmar is my more main out of the 2 Warhammer games, I think this is a big plus, like having this sort of stuff built in and having this stuff sort of laid out how it is in this nice, easy to read format is really well done. And this does lead to a couple of other things. First of all, the lethality drop that they have mentioned. A lot of things are less deadly than they once were, and I think this promotes the game in a right way. I really am not a fan of games when it's sort of, I go and I wipe out a bunch of stuff and then you're trying to recover. I like the idea of those first few turns should really be about, you know, I hit you for a little bit, you hit me for a little bit, and as we get closer and closer, the death toll starts to add up, and, you know, games go for 5 turns, or at least 4 turns, you know. I really dislike when you see, like, games are over in turn 1 and 2. It's nothing you ever want to see in any game, and I think the fact that 40k is a you go, I go system, lethality is a very important thing to get right in a game system like that. You know, you can't have a game system like 40k be so hyper lethal when you're not getting these reactions. But that is the point, that they've added a lot of the new stratagems and stuff like that are on the war scroll. A lot of them are reactionary, which is really massively positive. I think the stratagem thing is both good and bad. I like the idea of where they've purposed the stratagems within the game. I like the idea that there is certainly less of them. That can be, and maybe we'll discuss that in a second, on is it less enough for me. But I like the idea of them being reactionary and them being things you do during the game rather than things you plan to do, rather than this all-out sort of thing. And this combines with the fact they've said that command points have dropped in-game as well. The amount we're going to get is not going to be as many. I think this, for me, is the interesting part. Another one is boarding actions. I really like this idea of having this different mode of play that they've added, and it will be completely compatible with the new edition. This is really important. You know, we've all, or at least a lot of people have gone and bought the Boarding Patrol books, not only for the narrative, but for a really fun game system. I absolutely love Boarding Patrol as a game system. I think seeing this sort of stuff be put through as, you know, a new game system is really fun. We'll just replay the video here while we're chatting. Yeah, boarding actions and having those books, those cool big narrative books that I've spent all that money on, be useful in the new edition. I think this is much more important. You know, when we had things like Psychic Awakening and all of a sudden all those books, because Psychic Awakening was what, 7 or 8 books if I remember, and even it happened in Age of Sigmar We had the Broken Realms, and then they literally all got stripped away, unless you were playing like narrative play. So they got stripped away from the game. Having spent all that money, you know, when like it is like $500 to $700 in Australia on those books. I think it's important that, you know, we see these things have value beyond just that short time frame. And the last part is, like, I'm certainly excited to see the narrative of the game come forward. I think, like, this video shows the whole Tyranid menace coming in and being a big major threat. We obviously saw the Necrons in the last one, and I love that we are seeing these different focuses within these game systems on these different narratives. You know, originally it was, you know, the Death Guard and Chaos and all that sort of stuff. And obviously Arcs of Omen has a massive Chaos presence in it as well, but definitely like the first edition was Death Guard being the big bad, and then we saw, you know, Necrons and Indomitus becoming the big bad, and now we're seeing Tyranids rise up. You know, maybe we are going to see the split between Ynnari and the Imperium, that sort of fragile alliance in the next edition, but it does lead for lots of interesting different things. I think it's a really interesting time to see. I like these progressive narrative sort of games now, how they are pushing the games forward with narrative and stuff like that. Age of Sigmar has been doing it. 40k has definitely taken it on since 8th edition. It's been a major part of when they redesign the game. We are putting a new faction at the forefront against our poster boys, and sometimes even changing who the poster boys are, you know. In 40k, obviously the last edition saw Sisters of Battle sort of put up on that pedestal along with the Space Marines. We saw them in the reveal trailer. Now, obviously, they're not here anymore. This is Space Marines led by Roboute Guilliman, but cool stuff nonetheless. But now let's talk about the two things I'm worried about. And we'll talk about the one that I've already sort of mentioned, which is stratagems. And I think the worry is, have they taken them back enough? When they say that changing your sub-faction was what worried me in some of the reveal trailers, changing your sub-faction gives you another 6, that had me worried. I think, because, you know, if that is Space Marines, and it's every single Space Marine, so you have a generic 6 Space Marines, and then you have the first founding, plus I guess you could say Black Templars and Death Watch probably as well, get their own unique stratagems, their own 6. That is 11 different sets. That is 66 stratagems in the game in Space Marines alone. And that worries me, especially since they also said that the core ones are going to be more excessive. I think we don't need... I think the general thing would have been to go, maybe... I don't know, they've done this in like the Battle Time before. Maybe Space Marines had 3, or a couple, or even none. And each chapter just gives you 1. I think would have been more than enough. I don't think we need this massive lot, especially if we are expanding upon these core ones as well. The other thing that worries me is this objective count rule they've added in. Why am I worried about objective count? And the only reason I am is because I saw Gaunts with 2. I like the idea of having that there for an easy to access thing on, you know, Knights and Titans and all that can count as 20 or whatever. But I think there is a much more elegant system. They probably just could have taken straight from Age of Sigmar with this, going, you know, that Age of Sigmar has everyone counts as 1. If you have 5 or more wounds, you count as 2. And then if you are a monster, you count as 5. And I think that was a much more elegant system. And then there were certain armies like Gargants that had special rules on top of that, because they needed to be a special snowflake example, where you could have simply had Knights be that special example in Warhammer 40k, and you just could have had those same rules for everything else, and I think you would have been fine. But we've now watched this video twice, and I think I've gone through all my points on why I'm excited for the new 40k. I'm really, really excited for it. Like, don't let those last 2 points get you down. I mean, they are minor points, I guess. I am much more excited for everything I've sort of seen. Who knows what the new edition is going to be like. Looking forward to it coming out and looking forward to covering 40k. We probably won't be doing all too many 40k bat reps on the channel. We'll be getting stuff ready to go at launch and have a decent amount of armies to show off on launch, and who knows, maybe some combat patrol stuff straight away as well. I'll be looking to get some combat patrol stuff sorted so we can play combat patrols from the get-go. But Let us know your thoughts. What are you excited for? What are you weary of in the new edition of 40k? Love to hear from everyone down in the comments below. And so that's the end of the video. We hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you'd like to come chat more with me and other members of our fantastic little community here, we have a Discord server which is linked down in the video's description. Also linked down in the video's description are the best ways to help support the channel. If you would like to, you can do so either by YouTube members or Patreon, or by grabbing yourself some merch at Teespring or at our Ko-fi store. All of them are linked down in the video's description. As a special thank you to our Patreons and YouTube members, we'd like to give you all a shout out. So thank you to our Patreons, Christian Weir, Soren, Kenny Lowe, Outer and Shot First, Andrew Bowen, The Rising Ape, Q Dynamic, JJ Austrian, Average Wargamer, Domir, Mark Harvey, James Cater, Benjamin Swallers, Redman, Iron Grinch, Nicholas Colomos, Colorblind Magic, Grimscold, and Andy C. And to our YouTube members of Green Rich Gaming, Ronya, Lock Lorick, The Johnny84, David Ellsworth, Wolfric Nick, Baroque Chef, Ariana Edwards, Revenar, Pink Nico Fire, Robin Mankiller, Monty's Tabletop Terrain, John Castle, Davis Weird, James Tillman, Gargamel196, and Disco. Lastly, a special thanks, first of all, to Lady Witchfox Art, who does all the amazing artwork for the channel, everyone who helps come and provide the games for everyone to watch on the channel as well, and indeed all our fantastic mods and members of the community who keep our Discord and comment section a fantastic place for all to be. Thank you all once again, everyone. Stay safe, stay well, and most of all, keep fighting that war against the grey. Ciao for now.